Why are the dead bullied in the underworld? Netherworld relatives do not worship this thing. It's hard for the dead. Black impermanence, Lishang River. The chain clattered in his hand. Sun Juan knelt in front of Sun Leng's judge, trembling all over. But still hold your head high. I refuse to accept why my family has done good deeds for generations. I'm going to be tortured here after I die. Bai Ikang sneered. Gloomily said that your family does not offer relics. You have a hard time in the underworld. The voice just fell. The evil spirits around made harsh mockery. A hint of confusion and despair flashed in Sun Juan's eyes. Sun Juan was a scholar before his death. Poor family, but noble character. Often helping the poor. He was 25 years old. For seeking justice for a lonely old man. Beaten to death by a bully in front of Shayanya Gate. Sun Juan, before death. I'm still thinking of my elderly mother, wife and children at home. Full of unwillingness. He thought he had done good deeds all his life. Rest in peace, after death. Who knew I had just arrived in the underworld? He was escorted to the most gloomy place by the ghost. The underworld sky is always gray. No sun, moon, and stars. Only the floating turquoise ghost fire. Sun Juan was led to a huge stone palace. In front of the hall stood two black stone pillars, carved with hideous ghosts. Newcomer, come in and report. A bull-headed ghost pushed Sun Juan hard. Sun Juan made a few appearances. Almost fell on the steps. The wind gusts within 10 o'clock. All kinds of torture instruments hang on the walls. It was kind of creepy. In Zhangjiang sat a judge in a black robe. Serious face. Eyes like knives. Sun Juan Yangshuo died at the age of 25 due to the abyss. The judge flipped through the life and death department in his hand. The sound is as cold as the north wind in winter. Sun Juan straightens his back. Say aloud that I have done good all my life. Never done anything wrong. Why did you send me here? His voice echoed in the empty hall, swinging with unwillingness and anger. The judge raised his head. He glanced at him. We have records of your good deeds in the world. But that doesn't mean you can live comfortably in the underworld. His words, an ominous premonition rose in Sun Juan's heart. What makes sense? Doesn't the underworld talk about karma? The more Sun Juan thought about it, the angrier he became. It's getting louder. The judge did not answer his question. He waved his hand. Take him down and assign him to the D-class area. Two ghosts came forward immediately. He dragged Sun Juan out without explanation. The Dingji region is the lowest living area in the underworld. The people who live here are all in the sun. A lowly ghost. Sun Juan was assigned to a dilapidated stone house. It's damp and cold inside. I don't even have a bed like that. Living with him was an old man named Li Shou. He was a beggar. Li Shou saw Sun Juan come in, shaking his head with a wry smile, another unlucky one. Look at your outfit. He should have been a scholar before he died. Sun Juan nodded. Sitting on the ground with a heavy heart, I don't understand why I was assigned here. He looked at the humility of his surroundings, filled with doubts. Li Shou sighed. Little brother, do you think you are doing good deeds in the world? After death, you can enjoy happiness in the underworld. Sympathy and helplessness flashed in his eyes. Isn't that so? Sun Juan asked. He was taught from an early age to do good deeds and accumulate virtue. Only after death can there be a good home. Li Shou shook his head. Then you are wrong. The rules of the underworld are different from those of the underworld. Here it is. The most important thing is not how many good things you did in your lifetime. It's whether your family knows how to offer. In the clouds. Way of worship. What do you mean? He had never heard of it. Look at those souls in the Class A area next door. They had bullies. Some were corrupt officials. But here lives a luxurious palace. Enjoying wine and food. Li Shou pointed in the direction of the window. There loomed magnificent buildings. Sun Juan looked in the direction he pointed. Sure enough, I saw, in the distance, there is a resplendent palace complex. In the rundown area they are in, a stark contrast is formed. This also made him more confused and angry. That's not fair. Sun Juan said angrily. Why should the wicked enjoy happiness and suffer? Laugh, fair little brother. You haven't been in the underworld for a few days. Slowly you will understand. The rules here are completely different from those in the world. There is a deep sense of helplessness and despair in his paintings. The next few days, Sun Juan gradually learned about life in the underworld. It's dark every day. It's up to the ghosts to urge them to do coolies. Carrying all kinds of heavy objects, build roads. Work is heavy and monotonous. If you are negligent, you will be whipped by ghosts. Sun Juan's hands soon wore out blood bubbles. I'm too tired to straighten up. But he still gritted his teeth and persisted. What made him even more unbearable was bullying by other evil spirits. Some are ghosts of bullies. Still arrogant here. Often robbing them of their rations. Sun Shushing, hand over your meal. An evil ghost with a fleshy face walked up to Sun Juan. Said viciously. This evil ghost is called Wang Tu. He was a butcher. Famous for being ruthless. Sun Juan hugs the rough food in her hands tightly. This is my daily ration. Why do you want to rob? Although he is afraid, but still unwilling to give in. Wang Tuning laughed just because my fists were hard. Saying that, he punched Sun Juan in the face. Sun Juan suddenly had a nosebleed. Drying the wall and falling to the ground, Li Shou hurried forward to help Sun Juan up. He whispered, forget it, forget it. Saved him. Life is more important than anything else. He's used to this kind of bullying. Knowing that resistance will only invite more serious consequences. Sun Juan wiped off the nosebleed, staring at Wang Tu angrily. I'm starving. Won't give it to you. His stubbornness made Wang Tu even more angry. Good boy has backbone. Wang Tu raised his fist to strike again. Then came the harmony of the ghost. Who dares to make trouble here? Wang Tu lowered his fist sexually. He glared at Sun Juan viciously. You wait for me. Then he turned and left. Gichin came over to take a look at the situation. Said coldly that there will be a fight next time. All in black jail. His threat sent all the ghosts into a chilling state. That night, Sun Juan lies on the cold wetland. The wound on my face still hurts. He looked up at the gray sky, filled with doubt and anger. Why is this happening? Why do good people suffer? Li Shou saw him like this. Sighed little brother. You still don't get it? In the underworld, what really matters is not your character in life. It was something else. What's that? Sun Juan asked eagerly. He desperately wanted to know the answer. Li Shou looked around. Make sure there are no ghosts nearby. Then he lowered his voice and said it was a sacrifice. If your family knows how to worship, your life in hell will be much better. Sun Juan was even more confused. What to offer? Although my family is poor, but every festival they burn incense. How could there be no offering? He thinks of his mother and wife. They will surely worship themselves in time. Li Shou shook his head. No ordinary incense-burning worship. Those are of no use to us. What works is something else. A very special offering. What offering? Sun Juan asked impatiently. Li Shou was about to speak. Suddenly I heard footsteps in the distance. He shut up. Pretend to sleep. A ghost patrol came over. Holding a green lantern in his hand, I walked around them before leaving. Wait until the ghost is far away. Sun Juansai asked Lao Li softly. What were you going to say? Li Shou waved his hand. It's not safe here. Let's talk about it another day. He seemed to be afraid of being overheard. Although Sun Juan is anxious. But I also know that I can't force it. I have to suppress the doubts in my heart. And yet, that night, he barely slept. I kept thinking about Li Shou's words in my mind. Early the next morning, the ghost is here again to urge them to go to work. Sun Juan dragged her tired body. Was driven to a construction site with other ghosts. Today's task is to move a huge rock. Each stone weighs hundreds of caddies. Although Sun Juan studied during his lifetime, but the body is still strong, barely able to complete the task. However, just as he was carrying the 10th stone, slip, the whole person fell to the ground. Huge stones pressed against his legs. The intense pain made him scream. The other souls came to help. It took a lot of effort to move the stone away. Sun Juan's legs have been crushed and bloody. Although there is no true death in the underworld, but the pain is real. The ghost of the overseer comes over. Not only without the slightest sympathy, instead, he said viciously that he wanted to be lazy when he was hurt. Keep working. Sun Juan endured the pain and gritted her teeth to stand up. He knew that no one here would sympathize with the weak. Only by grit your teeth and persevere can you survive. Just then, there was music in the distance. All the souls stop what they are doing. Look in the direction of the sound. I saw a gorgeous team walking through the Class A area. The souls in the team are all wearing fancy clothes. Ready complexion. With them the hard work of the blue thread. A stark contrast. That's a VIP in the Class A area. Today is their entertainment. An old ghost said with envy. Sun Juan looked at those. A ghost living in luxury. The anger in my heart is stronger. How can they live so well? because their families know how to offer. Li Shou quietly walked to Sun Juan's side. Whispered, "What are the supervisors looking at?" "Keep working." The souls quickly bowed their heads and continued to carry the stones. Return to the house at night. Sun Juan can't bear it anymore. Lao Li, what do you know? Please tell me. There was despair and pleading in his voice. Li Shou looked at him. He looked around. After confirming that it is safe, he said, "In fact, I also heard from others. It is said that there is a special offering. As long as this thing is enshrined by the family, the dead can live a good life in the underworld." "What is it?" Sun Juan asked eagerly. "I'm not quite sure what it is. I only know that it is very precious and special. People don't know what to do." Li Shou shook his head. Apparently he doesn't know either. Remember the situation. Sun Juan sighed in disappointment. "Then I'll have to suffer here for the rest of my life." He thought of his mother and wife at home. Where do they know the rules? Not necessarily. It is said that someone knows the specific method of offering. But it's not easy to find such people. Li Xuan has not arrived. Sun Juan had a glimmer of hope in his heart. Where is that guy? I heard that there is an old man named Chen Zi in the area. He was a Taoist priest. Knowing these things, Li said in a low voice under pressure. In the region? Sun Juan frowned. He knows between different levels of area. You can't come and go at will, right? It's not easy for you to meet him. It takes a special opportunity. Li Shou's words made Sun Juan fall into deep thought. The next few days, Sun Juan has been thinking, how can I meet the Taoist priest named Chen Zi? He inquired a lot. Finally learned that the 15th day of every month, there will be a market in each area every day. There may be a chance to meet Chen Zi then. 10 days until the 15th. Sun Juan looks forward to it every day. However, on the 8th day, something unexpected happened to him. That night, Sun Juan is resting. Suddenly, I heard bursts of crying outside. He went out to take a look. I found that it was Granny Zhang in the next room crying. Granny Zhang was a kind old man. They often helped their neighbors. After his death, he was also assigned to the D-class area. Sun Juan went forward and asked Granny Zhang, "What's wrong with you?" Granny Zhang raised her tearful face. "I just got the message. My grandson in Yangjian is sick. Very ill. The family has gone bankrupt to treat him." Sun Juan's heart tightened when she heard it. So what should I do now? I would like to ask someone to send a message to my family. Tell them something. But Granny Zhang hesitated. But what? Sun Juan asked with concern. Granny Zhang sighed. But shipping requires a lot of virtue. My status here is low. Not enough at all. Sun Juan thought about how much yin virtue he needed. At least 100 yin day are required. Granny Zhang said in despair. 100 British and German for the souls of these deal-evil regions. It's an astronomical number. Sun Juan's hard work for a month. You can only earn 10 British and German. It will take more than half a year to collect 100 British and German. Just then, Sun Juan remembered something. Granny Zhang, do you know Chen Zi? Granny Zhang was stunned by Chun Zi. You mean the old Taoist priest in the district? Yeah, that's him. Sun Juan nodded. Granny Zhang thought about it. I know him. I've seen it a few times before when I was in the world. What's wrong? Sun Juan is overjoyed. Can you introduce me? I want to meet him. Granny Zhang looked at him suspiciously. What are you doing with him? And people like us. How can it be casual? Meet people in the area. Sun Juan hesitated for a moment, decided to tell the truth. I would like to know something about worship. Granny Zhang listened. A complicated look flashed in the eyes of the child. Some things are not necessarily good to know. Why do you say so? Sun Juan asked, puzzled. Sun Juan was overjoyed. Can you introduce me? I want to meet him. Granny Zhang looked at him suspiciously. What are you doing with him? And people like us. How could I see it casually? And the people in the area? Sun Juan hesitated for a moment, decided to tell the truth. I would like to know something about worship. Granny Zhang listened. A complicated look flashed in the eyes of the child. Some things are not necessarily good to know. Why do you say so? Sun Juan asked, puzzled. Sun Juan was overjoyed. Can you introduce me? I want to meet him. Granny Zhang looked at him suspiciously. What are you doing with him? And people like us. How could I see it casually? And the people in the area? Sun Juan hesitated for a moment, decided to tell the truth. I would like to know something about worship. Granny Zhang listened. A complicated look flashed in the eyes of the child. Some things are not necessarily good to know. Why do you say so? Sun Juan asked, puzzled. Sun Juan was overjoyed. Can you introduce me? I want to meet him. Granny Zhang looked at him suspiciously. What are you doing with him? And people like us. How could I see it casually? And the people in the area? Sun Juan hesitated for a moment, decided to tell the truth. I would like to know something about worship. Granny Zhang listened. A complicated look flashed in the eyes of the child. Some things are not necessarily good to know. Why do you say so? Sun Juan asked, in confusion. Granny Zhang looked around. Make sure no one else is there. Just whispered that because of that offering, it's not something that ordinary people can afford. Knowing it will increase the pain? Sun Juan became even more curious. What kind of gongfang is it? Granny Zhang shook her head. I don't know either. Just heard some rumors. Forget it, since you want to know so much. I can find a way to help you contact Chen Zi. But you have to promise me one condition. What kind of condition? Sun Juan asked without hesitation. If you can find a way to help me scrape together 100 pounds, I will help you contact Chen Zi. Granny Zhang's request put Sun Juan in a dilemma. 100 British and German, for him? It's a huge number. But in order to meet Chen Zi and learn the truth, he gritted his teeth and agreed. I promise you. From that day on, Sun Juan worked even harder. He does twice as much work every day as anyone else. To earn more virtue. Moving stones during the day. I have to help the ghost to organize the documents at night. His body is getting weaker and weaker. But the hope inside is getting stronger and stronger. Wang Tu saw Sun Juan working so hard. Instead, stopped bullying him. Well, one time, he even took the initiative to help Sun Juan move a few stones. Scholar, why are you suffering? Sun Juan wiped the sweat. I have my reasons. What reason is it worth your efforts? Wang Tu asked curiously. Sun Juan thought about it. Decided not to tell him the truth. One day you will know. After more than a month of hard work, Sun Juan finally collected enough 100 British and German. When he handed these yin virtues to Granny Zhang, the old man was moved to tears. Boy, you are such a nice person. I will never forget your kindness for the rest of my life. Granny Zhang started contacting Chen Zi as agreed. However, this process is much more difficult than imagined. Because of the communication between different levels of areas, it's very restricted. A few more days. Granny Zhang finally brought good news. Contact Chen Zi. He agrees to see you. But there are strict restrictions on time and place. You have to be ready. Sun Juan was so excited that she almost jumped up. Where is it tomorrow night at 3 to 10? In the D zone. In cemeteries at regional junctions. Granny Zhang warned that it was dangerous to go there. And time is limited. You have to think about all the questions you want to ask. That night, Sun Juan tossed and turned. Can't sleep at all. He was thinking over and over in his mind. What questions do you want to ask Chen Zi? Afraid of missing this rare opportunity. The next day's work was particularly long for him. He looked up at the sky more than once, looking forward to the night coming soon. Finally, when the third watch bell rang, Sun Juan quietly left the residence. The wasteland is located at the junction of the two areas. Very few people usually come here. Sun Juan walked for a long time in the dark. Just arrived at the agreed location. In the moonlight, the desolate cemetery looks particularly gloomy. There are tattered tombstones and scattered bones everywhere. Sun Juan endured the fear in his heart. Waiting by a big rock, soon footsteps were heard in the distance. An old man in a Taoist robe slowly walked over. Official Chen Zi. Late at night, 3 days later, Granny Zhang mysteriously takes Sun Juan, taken to a hidden corner. In the dim ghost light, an old man in a burglar robe slowly walked over. Official decree. His profound eyes glanced at Sun Juan. I heard that you want to know the way of offering. Sun Juan nodded excitedly and asked for Senior's advice. I wanted to know what it was. The minister only sighed. Child, did you know? The true rules of the underworld? It's more brutal than you think. Once the secret of that scene is revealed, there's no turning back. A complicated look flashed in his eyes. Are you sure you want to know? This truth. It could completely upend your perception of the world. Knowledge of good and evil. Sun Juan looked at Chen Zi's serious expression. Although the heart is uneasy, but the desire to know is even greater. Seniors, no matter how cruel, I want to know the truth. Only know the truth. So I can figure out a way to change things. The minister only gave him a deep look. It seems to determine whether he is really ready. It took him a long time to speak slowly. Since you insist on knowing, I'll tell you this big secret. He pointed to the magnificent buildings in the Class A area in the distance. You see those who enjoy the glory? Is it the ghost of Hua Fugui? The reason why they can live so comfortably? Because of their families. It's dedicated to something special. What's that? Sun Juan held his breath, waiting for an answer. Chen Zi's words were like a bolt from the blue. Hit Sun Juan's heart. Chen Zi slowly spat out 3 words pointing to Qiandun. Sun Juanzang is staying. Isn't money the famous finger of Yanji and Long Burn? Who doesn't have this? Chen Zi shook his head. God is dignified, and ordinary names refer to nature. But what I'm saying is that headlights are not ignited by It's a very special offering. Use a pure heart and make benefits. Combined with some ancient methods of burning, to become a true light in the underworld. Once the light shines on the soul of the dead, to drive away evil spirits and bullying. Even the ghost didn't dare to insult him. It can even be exchanged for the stability and dignity of the in-sea. Sun Juan felt for a while. Is it because I was bullied in the underworld? It's because my family doesn't offer fingertips like this. Lamp Chen Zi nodded slowly. That's right. Although your mother and wife are filial, but they don't understand this method. It's all mortal fire. Those flames don't go to hell. Turn to ashes and scattered. Only by pointing to headlights can we light up the dark night of ghosts. Like a sky lantern. Protect the king. Without him, the dead are here, like naked people. Destroyed by the wind and rain. Mocked by evil spirits. Great sadness welled up in Sun Juan's heart. He was a good man. But I don't know what will happen after I die. It was placed on the offerings of the family. Is it difficult for him to be true? Doesn't that mean the good and evil you did in your life? It is not as important as the offering after death. Sincere eyes pressed a few points. The cause and effect of good and evil will never disappear. But in the underworld, cause and effect require a medium. Refers to Qiandeng as one of the mediums. Good doer. If the beautiful woman is dedicated to defiance, they will be led by light. Examine his past achievements and demerits. Grant asylum. If there is no such thing, no matter how great the merit, it will take a long time to appear. Some even have to wait until they come to collect the treasure. But you are waiting. We have to suffer. Sun Juan clenched her fists. The voice trembled and so on. All my experiences, all because my mother and wife didn't know it. Minister sighed. Yang Jin, the world has long forgotten the ancient way of worship. For thousands of years, very few people really know how to point headlights. If not for fate, difficult to transmit. If you have an obsession, only find a way to bring the dream back to the sun. Inform relatives. But that requires a huge moral support. Your current identity and realm cannot be achieved at all. Sun Juan listened. Heart like a knife. He thought of his elderly mother. Remembering my weak wife and children, tears welled up in my eyes. If I can't dream, then am I not going to suffer here forever? Chen Zi was silent for a long time. It may not be possible to suddenly whisper. although pointing to headlights is the most direct way. But if you can amass enough yin virtue, it can also be exchanged for Yan Chun's kindness. I will give you a beacon pot body. It's just that the road is extremely difficult. Years and months. Almost equivalent to living a lifetime. Would you like to? Sun Juan gritted his teeth, eyes twinkling with unyielding light. I am willing to suffer even more. It's better than being bullied by evil spirits for a lifetime. Chen Zi looked at him. Nod slowly. That being the case, I'll pass it on to you. This method is called the Dot Soul Sutra. If you meditate every day, gather a glimmer of light in the underworld. Wait for the low light to fill up. It can be turned into a bright light to protect your body. It's just that the process will take at least 3 years. If you give up halfway, everything is useless. Sun Juan saluted solemnly. Thank you for your guidance. I will live up to this life and this death. The voice has not yet fallen. In the distance, the footsteps of the patrolling ghost hairpins suddenly came. Chen Zi waved immediately. Whisper and hurry up. Don't stay here long. As soon as the voice falls, his figure gradually dissipated in the ghost fire. As if it never appeared. Sun Juan stumbled back to the stone house. Overturned in my heart. Li Shou saw that his face was pale. Asked the little brother blindly. Have you seen Chen Zi? Sun Juan nodded. The voice is low but firm. So he told me, the dead are bullied in the underworld. It's because relatives don't worship. Refers to headlights Li Shou when you... The whole person for a while. There was a long-lost shock and fear in his eyes. It was him. I thought it was just a rumor. I didn't expect it to be true. Since that day, Sun Juan secretly began to shame the soul, wail. No matter how tired you are every day. He has to close his eyes and send it silently. At first, nothing was out of the ordinary. Until dozens of days later, he felt a faint warmth in his chest. That warmth in the endless cold. As faint as a spark. But it ignited hope in his heart. And the days in the D-class area are still difficult. Ghost, business. Ghost bullying. Hungry and cold. But Sun Juan is no longer as desperate as before. He understands that only by persevering can there be a turnaround. Finally, one night, 3 months later, when Wang Tu forced him to hand over the rations again, a faint light suddenly flashed around him. Wang Tu's fist paused in front of the light. Inexplicable fear. Don't dare to fight again. He hurts and then retreats. Curse a few times. Leave in embarrassment. Li Shou saw it in his eyes. Big mouth in surprise, little brother. You have a light ladder on you. A determined light flashed in Sun Juan's eyes. This is the first ray of light I exchanged with the Soul Sutra. Just keep going. One day I will be able to light up the whole lamp. He looked up at the gray sky. Silently swear in my heart. If one day I can see my mother, wife, and children. He must convey the truth about the headlights back to the world. Let the world no longer let the dead suffer in the underworld. As time goes by, Sun Juan's bright light is getting more and more prosperous. The souls of the Ds, they began to gather around him. They felt it from him for a long time. Violent warmth and hope. Some even asked him to take a break. Point Soul Sutra and Inja's ghost business. They also gradually developed a trace of awe and fear towards him, because they know a ghost who can light up in the underworld. Sooner or later, it will be noticed by a higher government. 3 years are coming. Lights out of town. Flickering lights illuminated the night sky over the entire Dinky area. At that moment, all the souls saw the light. They fell to their knees in excitement, tears streaming down my face. But Sun Juan knew better. This lamp is both his own refuge. It is also the thought of my mother, wife, and children. It is the guardian of all the forgotten souls. He looks up at the cloudy sky, murmuring, "May the people of the world never forget the paper money lamp again. May the souls of the dead no longer be alone and deceived." Deep in the gray sky, there seemed to be a low sigh from the judge. Good and evil in the world will never come to an end. But without the light of worship, no matter how great a good man is, he will struggle in the dark. Straight headlights are not false. It is the only ordinary doctor of the dead in Ming.